In the source control wars, there's pretty much one clear winner. Mercurial is gone, Subversion is thrown by the wayside, Git is the only thing left. But some of the commands are a little bit obtuse. I have a solution for a couple of those, though. Let's mash on that.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Asp.Net Monsters. Today, Simon is going to be talking about the new football command in GitHub that's available from the CLI, which is just basically the way to take any piece of source code over the end line.
So the challenge today was that I didn't tell James what I was going to talk about, and he volunteered to do the intro. So he had to guess what I was going to talk about entirely from what was, I hope, a very obtuse introduction by me.
You said obtuse. Isn't that the shape of a football? That's what I was thinking. Is that?
Yeah, that might be more of like oblong.
Anyway, that's the word.
So, like I was saying, Git, very popular these days. All the rage in the cool places. All the people in Aspen are using Git to manage their ski hill chalets. But I mean, I am a big command line user of Git and have been really since the get-go, but there is one command that it's always a little bit overloaded, and that is checkout. So checkout actually has two different modes to it. So it has Git Checkout, where I give the next thing as a branch. So I have a branch here. I forgot what my branch is called. Feature, so Git Checkout, and I can give it this, and it'll go and check out that branch for me. But it also has this mode where if I made a change in here, then running Git Checkout on that file will just update it back to the README. And there are like legitimate reasons that checkout does these two things, but it involves all sorts of weird like Git backend nonsense that most people don't care about. It is absolutely like a leaky abstraction that people need to know about this stuff. So there are actually a couple of Git commands that I just uncovered the other day on a blog post that I will link down below. And those are commands that kind of replace everything that Git Checkout does. So when I am teaching Git in future, I'm going to use these commands to help people out. I will hopefully try and remember to use them myself too. So the first is Git Switch. And this is a way just to switch the branch you're looking at. So if I just do Git Switch main, it's going to switch over back to my main branch. So it does the same thing as Checkout in that context, but now it's a little bit more obvious what I'm doing, so it's just a slightly better named command too. So then if we go and edit this file again, other command we can do to fix that is Git Replace. And let's get that README file here. And I should probably check the name of that command. Make sure I've got it right. This is an edit point. Let's Git Replace. Restore. So replace is not in fact the right command. Git restore is what I wanted. README, and that is going to go and replace README again with the version that is on that branch. So these are a couple of new commands that I'm going to try and start using. I think they're handy. They don't show up, as far as I have seen, in any like built-in Git tools so far. I don't think you can like have the same things in here, but maybe eventually that will surface and people will start using the new names.
Cool. Yeah, I like the naming. As you said, it feels a little more natural, and like you're not guessing at what that thing is going to do based on some kind of obscure name. It's cool.
You know, unless it's the restore versus replace.
Right.
Which
this is true.
Picky about which
yeah.
you use, I guess. Are there differences around then the, you know, like when we're doing a checkout, if we've got untracked changes, then we're given some prompts and whatnot, right? Is Switch going to give us a different experience there?
No, I don't think so. We can try. So you're talking about if you end up with like a conflict between two things. Because if I just do git switch here, what was the branch called? Let's scroll back down.
Feature something.
Feature something. Yeah.
Feature add details. Yeah.
Feature tab. Maybe.
Well, that's probably good. Does have that? Let's see if it has that.
Missing a T. There you go.
It doesn't have completion yet for that.
Oh, it doesn't work for you. But mine, it might just be the shell you've got going or something.
Yeah, so it looks like we have the same thing. Yeah. So my
Right,
local
okay.
changes
Cool.
would be clobbered by this.
Okay. Well, I do think the names are a lot more clear as to what intent. I feel like it probably feels like a little bit closer to what we've been using in other places. I guess the terminology feels a little bit more natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm curious from both of you what your first source control was that you used. That wasn't just like a file share.
So I started off in university. I mean, I did like the first year of university with just like a bunch of different directories, and then someone told me about CVS, so I used CVS for a while, and then sometime in like second year, maybe Subversion came out, so I started to use Subversion, and I used Subversion for quite a while in school, and then various other things outside of that I could record an entire episode on.
What I'm trying to remember the one. It was a Microsoft one. It predated. Was it SourceSafe? Visual SourceSafe.
Yeah, that was the SourceSafe.
Yeah, Visual SourceSafe was my first one that I used. Then I went to SVN and then Mercurial, and I used that until Git. And then when I started working on GitHub, I dropped HG, and I've been here ever since.
Cool.
Yeah, it's always a surprise to me when I find projects that I do find them that people are still using Subversion. I'm just like, oh,
Poor you.
I guess that's okay. Like I went looking to see if I could find any statistics on number of projects people have on Subversion versus Git. I couldn't find anything more recent than about 2016. I think, and even then Git was doing well, and it's my impression that it's just skyrocketed since then.
What about on your side, Dave?
So to what Simon was saying, like being surprised when you see people use SVN, I just very recently was on a project or a team where the SVN was the main thing. I did manage to move them to Git towards the end of that contract, but it's one of those things that's kind of hard to pitch to the business if your development team's like flat out busy building features for the business. It's hard to convince them to take the time to like move to a different source control system, unless you can find a good business reason to. In our case, it was like the integrations we needed to do, build automations and stuff. The new tooling, it doesn't really exist for SVN, so that was the catalyst for getting that done. But similar to Simon, probably because we went through university at the same era, started out with CVS there, and then when I moved into industry, first one I was using was SVN. There was some obscure one I was using for a while at a company. It started with an A, and I cannot remember what it was. It had an interesting concept of like branching and like publishing things through different environments, but it was the only place I had ever seen it. So
I have a current client that I have migrated to GitHub. They were using OneDrive. This year.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Does it all for you. You don't have to think about it, I guess, if you're not like a team people.
If you're a single developer, yeah, it is pretty, you get to just move around pretty freely. It is, yeah.
Interesting. Fun stuff.
All right. Well, good reflections down memory lane. Maybe one day, if people are interested, I'll take you through history of crazy source control tools that I have used over the years.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for this, Simon, today. And thanks everyone for joining us. As always, remember to like, comment, and share. I don't know if I shared this recently, guys, but I did find a pack of stickers that
Whoa.
were. I know, it's just a little pack. There's maybe 30 left. So those comments in there, if we read one of your comments on the feed, of course, we're going to be sending you a sticker. So please do comment and ask your questions there. We'd be happy to feature that in an upcoming episode if it fits the show. I mean, if it has to do with how to make elephant stew, we're probably not going to read it on the show.
You say that like we stay on topic. Like, it is entirely possible that we will talk about elephant stew on this.
Next up on the ASP.NET Monsters, we will be going over Simon's family recipe for elephant stew. But remember to click on that subscribe button. That little bell will get you alerts whenever new videos come out from the Monsters. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. I found
Cheers.
the recipe in a trunk.
Yes.